Let's move on over to our sweet and loving anchor, Mrs. Nalini Bhatt, who will now share her heartfelt story of Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Let's take a look.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nelly.
God waits on the doorstep like sunlight, eager to slip through the narrowest slit and spread light where there was darkness, warmth where there was biting cold. It was our Bhagwan who was ever ready to enter a devotee's heart to protect him, cure him, transform him and elevate him. Baba performed innumerable miracles on a daily basis. During the month of August, we bring you incredible stories of devotees who were cured by Baba of grave illnesses. On today's Prashanti, we have an extraordinary saga of a devotee by the name of Srimati Saroja GiriShankar, who was hit with a deadly disease. She herself has narrated her troubles, her incurable disease cured miraculously by Shri Baba. Let's watch.
One of the biggest impressions Swami made on me was when I first went and saw him in 72 and came away to this country with two little kids. 73, I was struck by a strange illness and I was laid out in bed. I knew about Swami, I'd been to him. Here I was with my husband, two little babies, staying in bed, and we had no money, no family. For 3 years, it was an intense struggle. Hilda Charlton in New York was blessed. She has a room called the Room of Masters, where she used to have the pictures of pretty much every master. Hilda and I met one time and we spent about 4 hours talking about Swami. All the doctors had given up. What do? I'm a 27-year-old. I started reciting Swami's name because I'd heard him speak about it. I could not walk, think. I could not talk. The only thing I could force myself to say was to say Om Shri Sai Ram. I did not know what to do with myself. Well, I'm not dying. So I took to repeating his name every second of the day, almost for 1 full year, at the end of which I told my husband, let's take me to Swami so that I can die at least in his presence. We were supposed to leave in 2 days. I become so severely sick, we cancel it. April, we decide to go, and again I become so sick, he had to cancel. And then in the month of May, I said, it doesn't matter, even if I die in the plane, just take me there. We reserve the seats. 3 days before, my husband gets a very strange urinary infection and is bleeding. I didn't even have a single friend to take us to the hospital. So I called somebody, a stranger. I said, take him to the hospital. The next day, he calls me from the hospital because he has a very serious infection. I haven't driven for 3 years, right? I say, Sai Ram, I have all the signs of a brain tumor. I drive the car for about 2 minutes and I have to pull it to the shoulders and stop. Stopped at least 20 times before I drove into the hospital. I take somebody's help and ask them to take me up to my husband's side. We both hold hands and we pray for a while. And he says, Saro, don't cancel the flight. Let's go day after tomorrow. We get on to the Air India plane. My husband starts the problem again. The pilot has to announce to see that there's a doctor on the flight. If you could imagine this husband and wife, 2 little kids, both of us so severely sick. My parents are in Bangalore. My parents take us home. In the meantime, a week before I left, Swami comes in my dream and he says, I'll see you at 10 o'clock. I don't even think I'm going to live to see him. In the morning at 4 o'clock, my parents get the taxi ready, put my husband who is sick at the back, put me at the back. They take these 2 little kids on their laps and go towards Parthi. Very, very hot. The car stops. Driver says, Amma, the belt is gone. I'll go to the next village and get water. My mother looks around for a little bush where she can put me and the kids because I'm wilting very fast. We find a very thorny bush. So she takes me and my children, puts us in there, and my husband is sitting in the car in that heat. But he brings back water and fills it up. And he says, Amma, we can go now. So to Puttaparthi, there's not a soul in Puttaparthi. We have this terrible sinking feeling. My mother says, let's go and sit in the shade in front of Swami's house. Takes me and puts me there. We had closed my eyes. My mother shakes me up and says, open your eyes and see. I open my eyes. Swami is standing in the veranda looking at me and my mother. And he raised his hand. There's no other person there. In the meantime, my husband and my father had come and they were standing next to us with the two children. And then my mother said, what is the time? 10 o'clock. He comes there and he makes a vibhuti and puts in my hand. And I'm hollering and crying. Finally, I can die. And he says, don't cry like this. He goes to the men's side and my husband tells him, says, I brought my wife, she's sick. Swami says, I know, come in. He looks at me and he says, how much of pining you had done, I feel it right here. We had a wonderful interview. Just before I left, I told him I have been sick. He says, I know. By the way, I've been sick. They talk about doing tapas in the Himalayas with one leg. I've done tapas without two legs, He gave me vibhuti and he cured me. And God gives us tutorials. Tutorials are very hard to take, but sweeter is the success and the graduation. I can do the work of 10 women today. I've never been as energetic as I've been for the last 20 years. He can remake your life like nobody can. I don't know what God is. Do you? But I know here is a being who can do for me that nobody else can do.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini.
We are bringing amazing incidences of devotees who were cured by the divine doctor Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Last week we watched the unbelievable way Baba worked his miracle on a young lady in the grip of an incurable disease. Today, let us watch how the all-compassionate Lord listened to the cries of a grief-stricken mother whose child was suffering from painful abscesses.
Swami says, where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is God. And where there is God, there is bliss. In my life, Swami bestowed that boon of faith through an incident when I was 4 years old. My brother was a healthy baby, but within 4 months, he developed some skin condition that initially started with some abscesses and quickly spread to involve his entire body. And all the specialists had said, this is incurable. My mother has started going to different holy people. My father would go to different specialists. One day, a holy man came to our home. My mother asked him, could you please do something with this child? He said, your son will be cured on the 7th of April. My mother just felt very happy. She just believed in it. My dad was of a scientific bent of mind. Who will cure him? He asked. And this man said, God will cure him. We were worshipping Lord Venkateshwara. My dad said, you mean Lord Venkateshwara, who lives about 400 kilometers away, would cure him? He said, yes. Then he asked, this Lord Venkateshwara is in a stone form on 7 hills. He'll wake up, walk the 400 kilometers, come and cure my son? And he said, yes, he will. Months went by. Swami came to Hyderabad in 1974. My father had heard that Swami is a very good speaker. So he wanted to go and listen to his discourse. My mother wanted her son to be blessed by this holy man. They went for 10 days. Nothing happened. Everybody in the crowds would say, why are you bringing such a sick child? Because he was actually having abscesses and he was smelling. We would cover his hands, tie his hands in cloth so that he doesn't scratch, cover him up with a little piece of soft cloth. On the 10th day, Swami came and waving his hands, he was leaving. My mother could not hold herself any longer. And she shouted, Swami, Swami. Swami turned around, walked up to her, picked up my brother into his hands, and in his right ear, he whispered, Taggutadi, 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 which in Telugu means, it'll come down, it'll come down. My mother was very happy. Every morning, there was a ritual of cleaning my brother. You would take a cup of glycerin and some wet cotton, lift up centimeter by centimeter, and every part of the wound you would just lift it up and then give him a bath. That morning, we lifted the first centimeter, we lifted the second centimeter, we lifted the third centimeter. There was not a single wound. It was as if somebody had taken off the old skin and put a new skin. The baby was resplendent, joyful, smiling, kicking. We haven't seen him like that. There is nothing in science that will explain how so many abscesses could be cured in one night by whatever method. Then the penny dropped. It was the 7th of April when it happened. Swami's word is paramount, is mantra. Swami is actually love in action. Every moment he was working for the welfare of myself, yourself, and this entire humanity. It's now up to us to not rest and to actually work and work.
I see you as a very devout, a spiritual aspirant. Where does that energy come from to keep you so motivated?
I try to just focus on Swami. You're facing the sun and the shadow is behind you. As long as I keep my face turned towards Swami, I know that I'll be safe. And I know I'll go out of this world a better person.
You're a scientist. You're a surgeon who operates on the human brain. Do you ever wonder why Baba, in all the wisdom of the divine, can utter a single word 3 times and cure a person, and then you, law of averages on your side, probably see some patients maybe not do well?
Why 3 times? I can only think that Swami always says, we are not 1, we are 3. I don't know what my brother's karma was. I don't know what my dad's and my mom's karmas were. I think he cured us or revealed his divinity at all levels. And maybe that's why he uttered it. Not that he needs to utter it thrice. In one word, with one look, he can make the whole thing change. It's a prayer that cures them. I myself had been through various operations. And Swami said, doctors didn't do anything. It's because of me that you're walking today. And I just fell at his feet and I said, yes, Swami, I mean, I had no doubt about that. It's always because of you that this world moves, not just me.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram. We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini.
Bhagwan often said his love is that of 1,000 mothers. It was especially evident when he tended to his students when they were sick. Today on Prashanti, we bring you the miraculous cure that Baba brought about in one of his students, Shri Narayan.
It all started with vomiting and high fever. I could not go for Swami Darshan for 2 continuous days. I sent a letter to Swami. Swami called Mr. Kudumparao, said, why don't you take one doctor and show? The doctor examined me and asked, what medicine did you take? I took Swami's Vibhuti, sir. Do you think only by eating Swami's Vibhuti you are going to get cured? If you take medicine along with Swami's Vibhuti, the Vibhuti will act as a catalyst, so you will get cured fast. The doctor told Swami, he has not taken any medicine, he is eating only your Vibhuti. Bhagavan is the doctor of doctors. He knows everything. But when a person who has studied says, Swami, this is the right thing to do, Swami says, yes. So Swami said, did he do that? Very, very wrong. I was admitted in the hospital. It was on the Shivaratri day. Came straight to the room where I was lying. He got me one grape, put it in my mouth. He discharged me. Swami sent me a strange message. Ask him to be very careful about his diet. Within 1 week, my fever shot up. There was excruciating pain, continuous vomiting. I was shifted back into the hospital. I was suffering from malignant malaria, which has affected my liver. They started decomposing inside. Both my kidneys failed. I wrote a letter to Swami, dearest Bhagavan, my last days have come. I am not afraid of death, but I have only one prayer in my heart. Before I close my eyes, Swami, just give me one darshan of yours. Next day, I fell into a coma. The doctor said, he's hardly going to live for another few hours. Having stayed in Prashanti Nilayam, let him die in Prashanti Nilayam, which was overheard by the boy who was helping me. He went for darshan. He told Swami, Swami, Veda Narayan is going. Swami asked, where? Swami called one of the doctors. He said, Swami, if you interfere, he may live. Otherwise, there is absolutely no chance. Swami has said, my love for you is like that of thousands of mothers. Swami did not even have food that day. He straight away came to the hospital. I was semi-conscious. Swami said, Narayan, open your eyes. I have come. I opened my eyes. I saw the beautiful form of the Lord in front of me. Swami created vibhuti and applied the vibhuti on the liver. Swami sat on the patient's cot. Swami, I cannot take anything orally, said. Swami said, who said? Give me that coconut water. Swami poured coconut water into my mouth. So lovingly he said, I will send you one Viva bottle, electrol, keep drinking that. I told, I cannot take any more injections, Swami. No common sense for doctors. You come and prick my child so much, when you fall sick, I'll bring such big needles and prick all of you, Swami said. Then Bhagavan went to Mandir. My students and staff, they're waiting there. With all seriousness, Bhagavan said, Veda Narayan is dead. All are stunned. When I am here, how can he die there? Look at the compassion of the Lord. Within half an hour, my kidney started functioning normally. Next day, my entire body turned yellow from deep jaundice. I had a dream of Swami in the hospital. Swami was shivering. I asked the boy next to me, Swami is not well. And the boy told me, from morning, Swami is suffering from malaria. We get diseases because of our previous karma. We cry out to God. How long a mother can hear the cry? So Swami used to take upon himself and suffer. This was a shock for me. When I opened my eyes, I started crying and crying. Slowly, I went back to sleep. The dream continued. When he came out, I ran towards him, hugged his feet and said, this is my karma which I have to undergo. But I don't want you to suffer, Swami. What is there for this body? I can take anything like this and leave it. You cannot do it. Dream ended. The next day, my fever touched normal. Bhagavan came to the hospital, created vibhuti, applied the vibhuti and said, now onwards, you can have normal food. If I am standing here, it is because of the bhiksha of life he has given. It will be ungrateful on my part if I cannot serve him back with the life he has given me.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Love is my God. Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome brothers and sisters, this is Nalini. In the 1970s and 80s, there was an influx of Western devotees to Shri Baba's ashram Prashanti Nilayam. Among them were few young men and women who by their own admittance were hippies leaving home after high school or after halfway through college with the backpack essentials traveling to various countries. This month on Prashanti, we feature a group of 5 Western ladies, the Gopi Brigade as Shri Baba called them, who had the great good fortune of interacting with Baba from close quarters. Their devotion to Sai Krishna was no less than the gopis of yore, who followed Krishna everywhere. They take us back to the blessed times they had with Swami in the 70s. Let's watch.
This is Gail Malloy, India Supera, Michelle Kaplowitz, and Heidi King. We all had the great privilege to be at Sai Baba's in early 1970s when Swami graced us with his love and his attention and his teaching, and he brought all of us to some great, beautiful places. One of the greatest experiences we had was being able to follow Swami in cars. We all just looked at him as the divine Lord and Krishna, and we felt that we were his gopis, following him wherever we could, whenever we could. He reciprocated with lots of grace and divine love. we felt this was his divine will, this was his game, his leela, that he let us play with him and enjoy.
From Michelle, she figured out that Swami would lead. There would be certain people who were actually invited, unlike us, to go along.
And Jai Devi and I got actually to sit in Swami's house for 18 days from 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at
so
night.
So Michelle became friendly with those who were then what we would call the VIPs.
We were so tuned into Swami, and you could see signs that he was going somewhere. Once he was not going to have Shivaratri. He said, I'm going away. I made up my mind, I'm not going. Swami's going to the jungle. He doesn't want us to come. I sat there, and then suddenly I see boys running with suitcases. And I ran down the road. I said, Howard, quick, get the taxis. I couldn't stand not going. One time, we followed Swami. We were in the taxi, and I saw Roger Eddy get up from the podium, and I knew that Swami's going to leave soon. We got out into the taxi. We lost Swami's car. Then we turned 3 corners, and there was Swami's car sitting, waiting for us.
We really never did know where Swami was going, and he would almost wait for us. And Swami was in a little Fiat, for God's sake. You could usually find him.
There was a bullock cart overturned in the road, and Swami's car had to stop. And we walked over to Swami's car. Do you remember? He was like the sunrise. He was Brahma Murta. There was 1 second of complete silence and stillness in which he was the dawn. Then he broke it and he said, no, don't come to Anantapur. I'm only going there for 2 hours. You go to Bangalore.
Then it was, do we follow him when he's told us not to follow him, or do we go on to Bangalore? And this one Indian woman was saying, oh no, don't you know that story of Krishna, when Krishna told the gopis to stay in their village and attend to their duties, and they all left their duties and they went out and followed Krishna anyway. And so she was very persuasive.
Our car pulled up to the outside, and then his beautiful figure walked out onto the outside balcony of Anantapur. The hand waves like this. And we came inside, and he was up on the top. He was like Rama shooting arrows at us. How did you know Swami's program? He said, oh, Pandavas. Heidi was Dharma Raja.
Arjuna.
In Delhi, we did get in trouble following Swami, and we really didn't get bailed out of this very easily because Swami had an invitation to Indira Gandhi. We had no idea. Don't you remember? We went right through the gate, but they were very nice. They were much nicer than Swami was later.
There was so much devotion for Swami. He was Krishna. Where all of our hearts were only seeing that he was God, especially in that form that gave delight.
We would never know where Baba was. Like, it was a big detective work.
I had been to Madras once before. This is when Walter Cowan died in Madras. We managed to find the house where Swami was. Swami walked out and he said, wait here, I am going to the hospital. And we waited, and Swami came back and he says, Walter Cowan, complete dead. Doctors aren't letting me in. I'm saying, what right for you? He's my devotee, my patient. He says, I went inside. He says, I said, Cowan. He says, Walter woke up, and Mrs. Cowan did complete hospital dance.
In Madras, we were staying at the house of some people who had some neighbors down the road who were devotees, and we were invited, and we were just standing there, and he walked by, and he just looked at us, very happy. You know?
He changed our habits. He changed all of us. He brought us all up to the standard that Swami likes to see. He also gave us the great privilege of having this experience. It was grand.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Let's push off with our popular anchor, Miss Nalini Bhatt, with a scintillating segment called Prashanti, which is wrapped around a story on Satya Sai Baba. Stay tuned.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food.
We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini. In the last Prashanti, we were mesmerized by the Gopi Brigade, the early Western devotees of Baba, narrating their experiences with Shri Baba. We are never satiated by stories of Baba's glory. Let us indulge in some more of his leelas on today's segment.
But it was so nice on these trips too, because you'd always stop on the side of the road. Baba would always have tiffin in the back of his car, and he'd sit there and he'd talk. It was encouraging to continue the Gopi in Anantapur. He let us stay overnight. I was the last person to get up, and there was no one in the room. And the room was a complete mess. And I said, oh, I better get my sari on. Swami's going to be coming in here. And I'm saying this whole time, oh, if I only had a chance to talk to you. So I start running around and cleaning things up. And who comes breezing through the door and walked right up to me and goes, yes? And I'm there, just cleaning up. Just like walked out of the room. And I go,
Talk about the dinner you made for Swami. Swami's given us so much, we should give something to Swami. And it was determined that we would invite Swami to dinner.
2 Indian ladies, Geeta and Leela, who were going to help me. We got ghee, we got everything. I mean, we really must have fed 30 or 40 people.
Swami invited at least 30 people.
We only had 2 kerosene.
27 different types of food. The scene was set from the early morning, running to City Market, cooking in a 6x6 room on 3 kerosene stoves, produced 27 different dishes. We had garlands laid, and Swami suddenly walked in and said, do, and he put his head down. It's the first time I ever touched his hair. It was heaven. I put the garland over his head. Then he told us ladies to pick up the buckets and start to serve. And Swami picked up a bucket and served.
I was so tired that I literally, sitting up cross-legged, fell asleep
at the dinner, and Swami, he said, cook is tired. I never saw a more sweet expression on Swami's face. He was so proud of you. We had a dais, and Swami sat at that table alone. Did you serve Swami?
We all did. Everybody got to serve. The next day he went to put a party and told everybody what a great dinner it was and how wonderful cook I was.
We had salad and mashed potatoes.
It was an incredible Indian meal from beginning to end. Geeta and Leela helped me spice it. We really primarily made it.
Swami sat after the dinner and spoke for a long, long time to us. Through the years, he gave so many beautiful spiritual discourses. I am always with you. I'm above you, around you, below you. I am your mother. I am your father. This is your home. He gave us rooms to live at the back of his house, and we hung our laundry on a rope that stretched across the whole back of his house. And Swami used to come out to darshan. He had to part the laundry to get through. We were so believing he was our mother. They told us to move our laundry, and we just didn't. He allowed us to be that close to him. He tiptoed across the water that we had thrown out of this cooking room and created a lake in front of this little room. And India was making chapatis. Swami picked up a chapati, braided it in half, and he blew into it. And he says, now you put inside sweets or potatoes. And then he crumpled it back up and threw it back into the dough. When he left, of course, we were all like in a state of trance. All eating a little piece of that. We had cooked some chapatis, and Bruce noticed that it was the shape of Swami's hair. So he drew a face on the chapati, and it looked like Swami. So we did about 4 chapatis that looked like Swami. When we brought those chapatis into his dining room, and Swami said, oh, it's omnipresent. Chapatis and potatoes everywhere.
Didn't have any fresh milk. Swami would always say he'd give us milk. One day he was going to give us some milk. He said, oh, Rajmata drank it. Swami, where's the milk, Swami? He goes, oh, the milk.
What can I do?
Oh, Rajmata drank it. Rajmata drank it.
He opened his cupboard wide, filled our arms with tins, with food of all descriptions. Like that, he fills our hearts.
Swami let me build up this big position of taking care of everyone, being the cosmic mother in a way. Finally, it got to be so many foreigners there that I had to cook. I couldn't go to darshan. And I was making chapatis, getting angrier and angrier. Like, why am I doing this? I'm putting this anger into the food. Like, I hate those people. They were all at darshan. Baba's talking to them. And Baba left the darshan line, came to my room, and he said, don't put anger into the food. And all the other foreigners came to my one private darshan. And Swami's just saying, don't cook with anger. This is all a lecture about cooking with love and to do prayers on the food.
Well, it was after darshan at Swami's house. We're going back to Bangalore. And we're coming up behind a truck, and the cab pulls out to pass it, and there's another car right there. We're going to be like this in the next second. Before we knew it, that car was behind us. So either we had been dematerialized and set on the other side, or that car had been. My father was all, talk to the taxi cab driver and find out from him what happened. The next morning, hiss off, and says, Swami, I want to thank you for last night. Swami said, oh, yes. Said, Swami's protecting you. You were all too shocked to call on Swami.
Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram. We at Prashanti offer our humblest pranams at the most sacred lotus feet of Bhagwan Shi Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Nalini. When it comes to Baba, the more we hear about him, the merrier it is. In the last episode, we heard how the Gopi Brigade cooked an awesome meal of 27 authentic Indian dishes for Baba and others and served nearly 50 people. Today, we conclude the Gopi Brigade special with one of the gopis recounting her fascinating story of how Baba solved her problem of illegal stay in India, even though he teased her by saying, you will end up in the birthplace of Lord Krishna, that is jail. She also narrates Baba's omnipotency when he wrote a letter to her saying she would be robbed, and he listed all the items that would be stolen, which happened many years later.
We were invited by Baba himself. He said, come to Bangalore. I'll give you a place to live. I'll take total care of you. I'm your mother. I'm your father. We get to Bangalore. It was 6 weeks from hell, and we lived under this tree.
And Michelle and Jai were going in
every day. They didn't mix with us very much because we were too uppity.
You don't think you're a bit touched by jealousy?
Yes, just a little bit of you, but 6 weeks had gone by. I was going to leave. So I got on a bus and I went all the way to City Market. I was going to go to the great Shiva Bala Yogi, and I said, I want to go see the saint, but the person who sold me the ticket said, well, is that in Kadgodi? I said, where's Kadgodi? He said, we always called the Brendavan or Whitefield. I was so stupid I didn't know the name of the village. And I ended up back in Kadgodi that very evening. I was sitting in this terrible place and one of the beautiful Sevadal came in and said, where have you been? Swami's looking everywhere for you. It happened to me, but I ended up in this beautiful wedding reception where everyone was in beautiful saris. He had called all the foreigners, gave them clothes, so even the people living under the tree looked beautiful. We used to bathe at the train station, and everyone in this whole place was clean but me. I am just burning with anger. Swami comes up to me. He says to me, are you angry with Swami? And he's standing there with a load of water where he washes my hands and face with this water as he's asking me if I'm mad at him, personally doing this. So, and I said, no, Swami, I'm not mad at you. My heart melted. And he said to me, where are you living? And I said, we're living at a tree. And at this he yells, Kastori! And he said, I told you to give him a room in the ashram. By evening, we were in the storage shed. He was so wonderful. But
Guy Davy and I were in the house every day from 9 to 9, but we were with Jack Hislop and Mrs. Rajagopalan. If he didn't talk to us for 3 days, we were hysterical. When he calls you, whether it's after 3 days or 3 years or even 10 or 15 years, he picks up the conversation.
Yeah. Remember, Swami had written that letter about all the things that were going to be stolen from me. And there was a whole slew of us that were there illegally. I was the most illegal because I had thrown my passport away. I mean, Indira Gandhi had declared herself a citizen of the world, this one speech, and she said that people should be free not to have passports. And I thought this sounded wonderful. And tossed passport. So he decided we were all going to be legal, but I was so far gone, I've been there years, and so everybody else was getting straightened out. In the meantime, Swami had to write this wonderful letter that to me, all about my sadhana, which I wasn't doing, about how I was such a great sadhaka, I did so much service, I meditated all day long.
But it's true, she cooked for everybody, you helped everybody, and this was a tremendous sadhana.
It was a handwritten letter I remember Swami saying to me that I was going to be in the place of Lord Krishna's birth. He kept making jokes about me going to jail. Because my passport was so illegal. So I go and I get everything legal. I gave me an indefinite visa to India, and I came home, and many years later I came back.
Swami said in the letter that you lost everything under the tree.
I went back to India with all the things that Swami listed, which were tape recorders, cameras. First night I'm back in India, I'm at our little pump house where we lived. Somebody robbed me and my girlfriend that came back to India with me. Swami wrote that stuff in the letter about you years ago. We stayed for 4 months that time, and the day we were leaving is Richard and Kathy came and they just churned a hay pile and they found all the baggage. And one thing that I really knew about this after that is that Swami's time is cosmic. And I never, ever again doubted when I go to Swami in these last 10 years and he said, I'll see you. I always know that as long as I'm in this body, I'm going to get seen by him again sometime before I die. Because I just know from that experience it took years for the truth to manifest.
Seeing these young women so close to Baba, the Rajmata asked him, "Why are these kids so close to you, Swami?" Let us hear Baba's answer.
We were having bhajans every night with Swami in Vrindavan, the Rajmata of Jamnagar. He said, "Swami, why is it that these kids are so lucky?" And Swami says, yes, it is their good deeds from past life.
Yeah.
They are very lucky. They don't know it now. They will only know it later.
Yes.
As we close the saga of Gopi Brigade, we have only one observation to make, that these ladies were really gopis reborn and were reunited with their beloved Sai Krishna. Thank you for watching Prashanti. Jai Sai Ram.